Connection to me is, to my understanding, is like a rough diamond waiting to be polished to show its real facets. People look at connection in many ways than just communicating between each other, also connecting to animals, to nature, to the universe, to the stars. We connect in many ways than one as people. And to me, that's the uniqueness of the word connection. Art to me is like oxygen to a person. It's like water to fish. It's been embedded in me since childhood. Ripples of life is life itself. We're born, we live, and we pass it on to the next generation. To me, that's the ultimate ripples of life.
Welcome to Virtual Concert Hall's live programs. Thank you for joining us. My name is Jennifer Savage, and I will be your host for today's show. Today, we will be exploring belief as it relates to our lives, our experiences, and anywhere from the lens of musician, artist, performer, manager, and all the way down to the eye level of the crude and unfiltered human being. Belief. Who do you believe, and what do you believe? Is it different from faith? There is no one-size-fits-all answer, and this could leave you with more questions than simple answers, but it's more real that way, and that's what we're here for. And here is a little preview to recap our last installment. We will be exploring loyalty. Do they deserve it? That's the first question that we have.
You have to decide who You're a very funny guy. It's God and yourself. Whatever we came from, you should be loyal to that entity. Polonius says to his son Laertes, to thine own self be true. And be loyal to yourself. That's being loyal. So, you know, Richie's really loyal. I'm not loyal. Loyalty has to be earned. I'm extremely loyal to those who earn it. I like your questions today.
Right.
Excellent. If you say fake it till you make it, that doesn't work here. Being polite works with fake it till you make it. I'm not going to be loyal to this microphone. If it keeps going off all the time, I'm going to say it's trash and I'm going to throw it away and go get another one. I'm not going to be loyal to it. All roads lead to Rome. There's not only one road to Rome. But the point is, people don't change. Yet,
do they change or not?
Eensy weensy change. No, they don't.
Okay.
That history repeats itself. Have you ever heard that? Now, do I have something to say? Yes. Loyalty doesn't matter. Just do your thing. Put your head down and keep swimming. Okay.
And that was our last recap episode. And today I'm excited to be joined live with co-host and celebrated partner in crime, Dick Ronatamian, otherwise known as Jack Price. And just to give a little introduction, formerly known as Dick Ronatamian and now known as Jack Price, he began his career in artist management in response to his own career as an RCA recording artist after winning first prize in the 50th anniversary Naumburg competitions, as well as the crazy pianist who premiered The Right for solo piano. Welcome to the show, Jack Price. And cool sculpture you've got behind you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, Talik Winter. I was going to start with something else, but we might as well refer to the video we saw. He talks about connection. I haven't changed this piece of connection back behind me yet. I have a bunch to put up, but I'm lazy.
I think I saw something like that in the video as well as,
I have a whole bunch of his stuff that's available. Yeah, it's available for sale, and I'm enjoying it until it sells. And so anyway, but no, actually he has over 1,000 works in London that are ready to be, he's selling all the time, but he's an interesting guy because he's kind of a self-made person, he never really studied anything like, he was a real estate guy and he made a lot of money. And then all of a sudden he decided to be true to himself and devote himself, like the last show, I'm trying to tie that together. It's a little cyclic there.
Loyalty, the last time.
Loyalty. Yeah. He is loyal to his true self and became the sculptor that he always knew he was, And like he said, he can see it in a piece of stone. He can see the figure. He just has to chip away and then the figure appears,
Yeah.
But anyway, he's very interesting sculptor and painter. And you can find him on the internet, Talik Winter.
Yeah, check him out on Price Attractions.
Or on our, priceattractions.com, visual art. Under that topic, we have a division. Okay. And you
might find something you like. Yep. Let's get right into our topic for today, which is we are talking about belief. And let us first see what is behind door number 1. Belief. Do we need it? What do you think? Tell us what you really think.
I will. It says up here, do they deserve it? Is that really the first door, or is it do they believe it?
Do we need it?
Do we need it? Okay, sorry.
Yeah. No,
sorry about that. Do we need it? Well, if you want to have a faith, which is different, if faith is based on belief, you have to have something you believe in. It seems really obvious, but to me, belief and faith are very different. Do you need it? Yes. Are they different? Yes. Which one's more powerful? You have to answer that question.
So is it different from faith? Is belief different from faith? You say yes.
Well, yeah, because faith is based on a belief. But the faith is something that's developed. For example, Buddhism or Christianity or if you follow Muhammad, these are all based on the belief that something is true. And of course, the religion or the faith is built around that belief, but it has so many offshoots, right? So that's the key thing, is faith has all these little forays into the woods, but a belief is one thing. I believe that the lights are on. I like to be very simplistic.
You see,
the lights
the way
are
you
on here.
The way you define faith is as in the different faiths. The different faiths that one can have belief in. Is that the distinction?
Yeah, but not necessarily religious faiths, any kind of faith. Like when somebody says, I have faith in you, that's a faith.
Anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when I say I have faith in Sandy Koufax, the great pitcher, I don't know why that popped into my head. I mean, I saw him pitch many times, not live, but I have faith that he's going to come through in the clutch moments. He's going to pitch a great World Series game. He's going to rack up the great statistics. I have faith in Sandy Koufax, but it's based on the belief in his talent. Now, I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but it makes a lot of sense to me. Belief is singular. Faith is like, I don't know what the word is, a multiplicity
more maturated,
thing.
like developed version of the belief. Are you saying that the belief is sort of an initial? Yeah.
It's like a tree with branches. Okay. So the tree is the thing you believe in, and the faith just sprouts out everywhere. It just multiplies. Okay. You can have faith in a candidate. You can have a faith in a priest. You can have faith in your sister, your brother, or whatever it is, or in the piano. You believe it's a great instrument and that it's going to, save the world. Many of these.
There's an order to it, and is there a timing as well? Does it take time to develop from a belief into a faith?
Yeah, I mean, faith starts with belief, so it takes time for the belief in the one thing to grow into a faith, into a, if you will, a religion. But we won't use religion as religion is traditionally used. I mean, it's like the sculptor or the artist. The first thing that has to happen is that they believe in themselves. Okay, this is pretty obvious, because if you don't believe in yourself, I don't see how you can get from home plate to first base. I just don't see how how that happens. Now, I do know a lot of people, and I don't really understand them. And I have to say this at the outset. I've known quite a few people that were self-deprecators and acted like they thought they were, just no good. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not handsome enough. I'm not, I don't have enough to say. And my sister's better than me and all that kind of stuff. But, excuse me, I think that those people deep down, otherwise they wouldn't be involved in what they're doing, believe in themselves, but they doubt themselves. And that's another show, doubt. It's a big deal. Doubt.
They prevent that belief from growing into a faith in themselves, and that's why they're self-deprecating.
I think lots of people have faith, but I think a lot of people have doubt that accompanies the faith. Now, the belief in the one thing, they don't deny that. You're at home by yourself. You say, I believe I can do this. I think they really do believe that. It's after the belief, the development of the belief, that the trouble comes in. For example, listening to others. It's overrated. It's overrated to listen to your peers, to your friends. Listen to yourself. I mean, okay, you can get deluded and go down this path of delusion. You can go down this path of, no man's land, and you think you're God or something. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about healthy belief in yourself.
Right.
That's it. End of subject. No, I mean, not the end of the show, but, Anyway, what's behind door number 2?
In yourself.
Well, you can think about that,
listening
Savage,
to others
all day long. While you're practicing, you think about that, okay?
Right. Let's play door number 2.
Okay.
So, belief. Is it real?
Well, I think we've covered this. It's the only real thing. I mean, my whole thing lately has been, in the past few years, that there is only one reality. Now, I'm not going to tell you what my reality is, but I believe there's only one reality. Okay. If this is a premise, right? So if there's only one reality, what fuels that reality? A belief. It is real to the person who believes it, in that belief. Person who believes in that belief, who follows that belief. Now, whether it mushrooms into a faith, that's pretty precarious. Sometimes it dies. Sometimes the belief dies. They trash it. You know, I know a guy who flunks every test, and he's a genius, right? He's 40 years old or something now, and every time he enters into a room where he's being tested, whether it's a driver's license or the SAT or whatever, when he was
some
young.
form of exam.
Any kind of exam he fails. You know why?
Why?
Because the minute he can't solve one of the questions or problems or the multiple choice, he gives up, he quits, puts his pencil down, and leaves the room forever. Now, that's what I call a fatalist. Okay. That person, I still think that person believes they can do it, but they're such a perfectionist that the mistake, the very first mistake, the very first answer they cannot answer, just drives them nuts, and they leave. They give up. They never finish. They can't get over it. And this is sad. Okay, that's the definition of sadness, is when, in my opinion, when you've got all these gifts and you don't use them.
Because you stopped so early. You're almost stopped at the door before you even
the person who exactly. If you cut it off that early, it's like the guy yelling in the forest. Does anyone hear him? If no one hears him, is he really yelling? It's the same thing. You've got all these gifts, but if you don't use them, they just get all rusty and like a car. All these people with 10 cars. Well, my question is, do you ever drive them? Because if you don't, you know what happens. Everything locks up. So I've never understood collecting cars. So if I was a wealthy person, that's one thing I wouldn't do, is collect cars. It makes no sense to me. And that is the kernel of thought. Does it make sense? Does it make sense to give up with all these gifts that whoever gave you, I believe God, but whatever, with all these gifts, yet there's not a prayer in hell. There's not a light going off. Like in Hamlet, I hate to keep quoting Hamlet. He says he's talking to his friends, and he's saying, the world, man is such a fantastic, look at it, so perfect in design, but has nothing for me.
So how does this relate to you said that lately you've been believing that there's one reality. Oh,
I can tie the reality thing in, but let me finish my thought. Hamlet is saying man is incredible, but has no beauty for him. He can't stand the human race because of the foibles, the mistakes and
there's too many imperfections. And
yes, man's inhumanity to man is what he's really complaining about. If you analyze to be or not to be, that soliloquy, that's man's inhumanity to man. There's no purpose for Hamlet to live because there's nothing to live for. Okay. And what happens, the story. Okay. He's not afraid of death because it's imminent. Okay. That we shouldn't go down that road. We should go down the road that there's so much to live for. And I know it's hard to not think that way. That's the only reality that I believe in, is that there is only one way. In other words, there's life. There is no normal life. There is no wonderful life. There's no bad life. There's just life. Your life is different than the next person's life, but it's life. You're both living. So there's no way you can categorize it. Oh, he leads a good life. Well, what's good? What some people's caviar is other people's poison.
So then back to door number 2. So belief, is it real? What is the verdict?
Real. The verdict is yes, it's real.
All right.
And if it's not, you can't have a faith based on it.
Yeah, stemming from that. All right, so really quick here, let's pivot here with a little clip that we would like to show to switch things up a bit, and stay tuned right here on Jack Price is Right. And I do want to take a moment here to mention we are live every Friday with Jack Price is Right, and we've got so many hard-hitting topics. I mean, it's already been 16 episodes of season 1 so far, and there's many more to come in store. And you never know what we're going to talk about, what the show is about. Everything is connected. All these topics range from truth, faith, falsehoods, belief, agreements, loyalty, all of these heavy subjects. But like we've mentioned before, it's up to you to verify truth for yourself and what you believe for yourself. I mean, we talk about anything, and from Jack Price's perspective, and even some interesting, widely believed myths, such as what the bar stands for. So, check that out on our episodes. But, remember to do your research, and also remember, the name of the show is Jack Price is Right. So coming up, this is our next and final episode. We have a little preview of it here, which is on success and what is the definition of success. So you can check us out on our YouTube channel at Virtual Concert Halls. We're also on Twitch, LinkedIn, Alignable, streaming to all the major platforms. More info on virtualconcerthalls.com and priceattractions.com. And thank you so much as well to our audiences for all the feedback, the comments, their input, both positive and negative. We loved hearing everyone's take on truth, especially our pilot episode way back in July. But yeah, really quick. So that was our middle of the show promo, and let's get right back into it with Jack Price, and let us also see now what is behind for door number 3. So, at the topic at hand, belief. How does it work? How does belief work? What do you believe?
Yeah, what do you believe?
What do you believe?
Well,
what do you believe?
The beginning of it is, okay, you're born and you're moving around and you don't know anything, right? And then you're in your little jungle gym, and if you're like me, I was always in motion. You probably get that from this show. I can't stop moving. So, you develop these things, you develop these tics, you develop your ideas are all developing from very young. I'm sure everyone knows this. I'm just reiterating what's obvious. Then all of a sudden comes that moment where you go, you decide to make a judgment call. My moment was I was born in Chicago, and we lived on Lakeshore Drive, and we walked out of the apartment house into the courtyard. It was a snowy day, and I saw this snowman.
Okay.
And I remember this. I was like 4, and I remember looking at it to my left, and it had a very strange appendage, and I won't say what that was because, we're in mixed company, but anyway, the point is it was the weirdest looking snowman. He had a hat on and a scarf and a carrot for a nose, but, had other things. And I thought to myself, gee, Daddy, what's that? And I kind of knew what it was,
Right.
but it was so ridiculous that I immediately dismissed it, because of course I didn't even want to test it out and ask my father or mother what it was or what kind of a snowman it was or what was that doing
Just
there.
Completely unknown to you.
It was totally what's alien to me.
Alien.
It's like, an alien came down. Well, what's that? But I remember having an opinion of that snowman. I do. I remember judging the snowman. And I can see it just as clear as day now. It was very well defined.
So this is the moment of judgment that you were speaking.
Yeah, this is the moment of judgment. And I think, I can't be, sure of this, but I think for me, that's what started my analytical nature. In case you haven't figured out, I really like to analyze things. We have another word for it that I won't use, but starts with A also. But analyzation, to me, is the key to life, because until you analyze something, you don't really know how to progress from point A to point B. You've got to analyze it and say, okay, this is my next move, right? It's very strategic. I believe in strategery, Anyway, no, that
but this
was
is
an
the story
imitation.
Of where you remember.
And I think that moment is indelible in my mind, and I believe that's where my first beliefs began, because I had opinions. So belief begins, I think, with opinion. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? I don't care what that guy thinks about. I want to know what you think about it. How many times have people said that to you?
Right.
I want to know what you think.
Forming an opinion, and then that's where your belief comes from, and then you develop that into faith. Right. Okay.
Hence the original title of this show. What do you really think, Richie?
Yeah.
I mean, that was my
Tell
first.
Us what you really think, what you really believe.
Yeah, it's usually say that to a person who's very opinionated. You go, well, what do you really think?
Well, because
it's like
the show is based on opinions or beliefs, and then those come from opinions. So opinions, beliefs.
Yeah, I mean, you could call it. The whole show could be called Truth. The whole show could be called Beliefs, because we always end up in this cyclic kind of activity, coming back to visit things, almost every
seeing
show.
How things are connected, right? Yeah.
And that's why I picked this sculpture behind me entitled Connection. And you can see it's three couples, man and woman, they're connected. Okay.
Yeah.
So the idea is, your original question is, how does it start? In other words, what's the kernel?
How does it work? How does it start?
How does it work? Yeah, it starts with your first realization that you are going to make a judgment call. You're going to judge things. And, of course, it's biblical that you shouldn't judge, because then you won't be judged. But, that's more of a philosophical approach. We all make little judgment calls daily. I've just made about 10 before this show started. No need to go into the details, but, I was going to get my iced coffee. I decided this person was a dodo because they didn't, serve me right away or something like that.
There's all these choices and decisions in life. You have to make a judgment of those. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to mean, I'm judging someone in, a certain connotation, a negative connotation.
No, it's not that kind of judgment. Right.
Yeah.
It's just, it's an observance. Shall we call it that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's more neutral.
I observed the snowman and with his strange appendage. And I thought, well, I'm not going to really mention that to anybody, but I'm going to keep it right there in my noodle,
And
then
develop
then
your
the
opinion, and then
develop. Everything's development. Like in music, you have exposition and development.
Right.
Well, without development, you just have the same old stuff over and over.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So recapitulation doesn't really happen without development. So therefore, that idea that the snowman was whatever, I thought he was odd. No, I thought it was odd, obviously, because we're portraying that opinion. I thought it was kind of perfect. That was another thing I thought about it. It was perfect. It just looked perfect. Yeah. But odd and alien to my senses or sight.
Yeah.
But that's where opinion stems from. And that's where belief follows. And then faith becomes the flourishing.
Grows from there.
Yes, it's the growth.
Yeah.
It's like a bush, you know, it grows, has all these leaves, you know. Yeah, there you go. I mean, like a bush. You asked the perfect question, and I believe I gave the perfect answer. Just kidding.
Yeah. Any last thoughts on belief? I mean, I think we've summed up the origin, you know, how it starts, how it develops, and how it can end up.
I have a last thought. Be careful, like they say, be careful for what you wish for or pray for. Be careful of what you believe in. And that, I mean by that is we can be led astray. In other words, our beliefs can be false, and we go away and we try to prove them right, and they're not right, and we get depressed and everything. Then we come back to a new belief, and maybe that one's better than the first one. So I'm not saying belief is, you know, you have to stick by it and be loyal to it to the very end of your life. I think it should be challenged. Beliefs should be challenged. Music should be challenged. Literature should be challenged. And
they're not
when you
just
go to
some beacon, some statuary like beacon that you hold on to. They should be constantly reanalyzed and redeveloped as you go.
Yeah, I mean, I have my favorite movies. I've seen thousands of movies, and I have a whole string of them I could call my favorite. One comes to mind is Titus. I thought it was just sensational, but think about it. If you think something's sensational, it can also have flaws. Just because it's sensational, remember, we talked about everything being a part of everything. So there's sadness in happiness. There's depression in elation, and the opposite, elation in depression. A depression can be perfect. You can have a perfect depression, beautiful depression. It is possible. That's all I wanted to say.
Do you believe that faith can be, you were saying that beliefs you believe should be, you know, constantly changed, or it can be changed and constantly, you know, redeveloped and reanalyzed. What about faith? Because that's the final stage.
Well, I'm challenging my faith all the time, even though I believe in it fiercely. I'm always challenging. I go, come on, you got to be kidding. You know, somebody will say something like, there is a blank thing. You know, I could use the actual thing, but I don't want to drum up a bunch of.
But faith, as well as belief, should be challenged constantly.
Faith should be challenged because it has to be tempered. You know, it has to be put in the fire and refined. You know, it has to be. It's like a living, breathing thing. It's not something that's in stone. You know, it has to be challenged. We challenge everything. Let's face it. You know, I mean, everything is a challenge, and we challenge those things. Everything is challenged. I mean, you walk out of your door and you're going, you know, I don't like that. You know.
Yeah. Always running into challenges. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, what do you like? That should be another title of the show is what don't you like, or what do you like, or do you like anything? You know.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
You know, this can go on and on.
Yeah. I think that's all the time we have today for the topic of belief. But the time is right. And I think we got to go. Let me thank you for being with us, Richie. And I think we got into a lot of good stuff. I do want to take a moment here to thank our partners and sponsors. We have so many amazing collaborators from arts organizations, orchestras, academies, all these great groups of people that are with us every step of the way, supporting us. And we're constantly adding new collaborators and working together to make something of it. And I also want to give a big shout out to the production team. Today's broadcast was powered by Christian Pelagi, directing behind the scenes. That's him right there. Couldn't have done it without you, especially. And we are sincerely grateful for everything, to have everyone along with us for the journey. And with that concludes our penultimate, I guess you would say, second to last episode of season 1 on belief. This has been Jack Price is Right. I'm your host, Jennifer Savage, and I hope you've gotten a little something out of it. I know I did. All right, see you next time.